Welcome back to the channel. I am talking about narcissism and also in relation to the world's dynamics and the powers of the world. It's something that it's hard to put our finger on what it is. What is it that creates this competition and this struggle for power? And why do we have this need to control? And why is there a need to control the narrative of people's mind and people's thinking? So when I talked about the narcissist in the latest video, and what I mentioned is that the narcissist is not a true person. So are these forces that it's hard to put our finger on, which demands control and which also creates a great deal of splitting in the people, and also they demands to have the narrative. Because if we see the narcissist and then we see it in a big context, then we can see that it's very, very similar methods, and it's also that it lacks some of the nature flow. It's not in tune with the nature's flow, and it doesn't like the authenticity of people. If they like it, it goes through their own calculation, where some is allowed to flourish and some are not allowed to flourish. And it is also not very fond of people being free-minded or being strong in their individuality. And even though I talk more about the spiritual sense, like an individuality in like that we are, every person is the source to the divine. It doesn't go through other person. That is fake. You and I are the divine ourselves. So we have an experience on this earth where we are in a way separated through our gross body and through our subtle bodies. We are experiencing ourselves as separate, or that we have an identity and that we have all these needs and wants, and we have a mind that becomes conditioned from a very small age. So all of this big scenery that's going on with our lives is controlled in a way by specific forces. And how can they control? They can do it because they can condition the mind. And because they can condition the mind, then they get people to accept this. People accept that they are something they are not. They lock down the intuitive and the vibrating heart, which is so important, and it's so it's the life force which makes every human being a gigantic and also a extremely powerful individual. But we are not powerful if we are conditioned, and if we take choices every day which makes ourselves weak, and we can take choices that closes the heart center, and we can use all these methods that slow down the senses. The senses get impure, and we get all these like glasses that shadow from the real sight, from what's really in front of you. So you can't see what's in front of you because it's all conditioned. And you can say that then it takes much more to get that true beautiful feeling, because even if what I began to talk about, the narcissistic powers which are conditioning people and which is splitting and dividing, and in that regard creates a narrative and a power mechanism that people will support, then, and that's also because they create the bad guys, and they create like those groups that we don't want to become ourselves, we are gaining through that, because we can project all these things on those people that are so much less than us, and that they are not so valuable as us, and they are not at the same level as us, and so on. And we have all these, we can't even say them into words because they are so deep in the unconscious mind, but they are very powerful, and we are doing this projection of the bad things on certain groups and people without even knowing it. Because how we know it is that it creates this balance in, so we can live with this artificial balance, and also that we can keep being in this illusion and being governed by this energy this narcissistic forces, without us doing anything about it. And that we accept life as that. And the counter force of giving everything to you is that somebody don't get anything, or maybe they get very, very little. And that's exactly how it is when it's not growing naturally. Because, in India, they have something called the caste, or a system where people belong to different groups, like a hierarchy. But originally, it was more like that people are very different, and we are in these roles of life. We have these archetypes where sometimes we are very brilliant because we have great minds, and we are given a lot of potential or talents from birth, and we have we get the environment where this is supposed to flourish. And other times we are more like a street worker where we don't do so much. Maybe we are just in a way being lazy, but at the same time we have an important role. You have all of these different colors and ways of life which is equal. There are no difference, because you are just being what is the energy which is flowing through you, and the potential that you carry in your energy system. That is what is manifesting in the world, and that is so beautiful. It doesn't matter what it is, because the only thing that divides people into different levels of importance and value is the human conditioned mind. And the human conditioned mind is steered in that way from these forces who wants to take control and doesn't want people to be authentic. Because when people are authentic, they have this great power in their heart, and everybody can become friends with everybody, and they are impossible to control, and it's impossible to make people do things that is going against what's right and also what is in their heart. So therefore the caste system they began to start thinking that the lower caste had less value, and that people who work, for example, as a cleaner had less value than a director who is a great leader, or maybe somebody with a great scientific mind who can have these brilliant ideas. So all this hierarchy began, and then people get locked into a system where they lose touch with their authentic or their heart vibrations, and they begin to think that they are less or they are more, and all this which creates so much problems. Because when we begin to divide ourselves, then it creates all this projection as well, because if we are authentic and if we are in tune with our heart, we are able to feel the different emotions that life gives. So if something hurts, we feel sorrow or we feel pain, and we are allowed to feel weak because something happened that creates this energy. And that is very hard to do when you are caught in this system. So what do? You try to project the negative emotions that you feel. And so when you feel like weak and you need support, then you will become angry instead, and maybe you will try to pump up the ego or do all the things that attacks the energy flow. And that's what everybody does, more or less. And of course, if you have not started in self-development, then you will be automatically, you will begin to attack your energy flow, and it will become a lot of blockages and a lot of sickness. And not only that, because you may create that around you, because when you start to project things that are not working in your life anymore, then it will be a part, you will just spread this disease in a way. And many people do that, and that's also why it created so much unbalance in the world. So this was a very easy way to explain just the mechanism of it all. So what is beautiful and what is not beautiful is in a way decided. So it's taken, it becomes a part of this regime that we can't actually see, but it works deep in our psyche. And that's why we are given that's why they also can make people and things into hierarchy, and where it's decided in advance which is valuable and beautiful and which is the opposite. And the truth is that through our hearts and through our clean senses, we have access to all the beauty in the world, and it doesn't cost anything. And it's also that many of those who are placed on a pedestal and placed in these valuable positions, or they are given all this praise, they are not. It's all a part of a dysfunction. So when you come deep enough, maybe they can of course create or beautiful things. And I'm not saying that they can't, but my point is that when you come, it's a part of a dysfunction. So when you come a little bit deeper, then this will be really recognizable. When that particular person is challenged through this sound or this vibration comes out, where it's really revealing, because the true beauty is not a hierarchy, and it's not something that can be given from these ruling forces. And the more that you have been, if you have been receiving and building your life on this, then to really grow spiritually, you have to lose all of this, because it's a part of a dysfunction. And in a dysfunction, the balance will be restored, and that is a very painful process. And you can also say that the way the system is in many ways are weakening worldwide, even though it's not always obvious. But you can say that the unbalance is very real at the moment, and it's always been real, but now it's very visible for much more people. And this will carry on until it's restored. And in that phase, many people will fall in a way. it's exactly how it should be as well, because all which is a part of this dysfunction must fall, and things has to grow from within in the true sense. The life flow has to start circulating and remove all that is fake and all the blockages and all that has been conditioned, and all the projections that has been going on. All this will come back to you, and you have to integrate and heal through everything. And then the spring comes and the summer comes, and it will be amazing. And then you will also have discovered who you truly are, and you have learned so much more about this beautiful and this complicated life. And so I will say that if you are in a position right now where things are unclear, maybe you feel that you're losing things, that things are not working out, I don't think that you should be so worried, because this is a good thing that this process has begun. And the place you don't want to be in is where you are like sitting on a throne and you are feeling very safe and very valuable on the expense of other people, because that is a clear sign that it's a dysfunction. And so you can take the test and you can begin to dig into your psyche and begin to dig into to your own mind and your thinking, and what is being revealed, what thinking process do you actually have regarding other people, and also the way that you are comparing yourself. We are living in extremely great times where things are happening to the system, and the spiritual divine energy is much more visible than before to the single person. So that means that you can suddenly just see the truth, and you can get these amazing support and help from the universe directly to you. And it's like the veil is so thin, because we are living through times where great changes are happening. We are not living in times where the dysfunction is being created. So the narcissistic forces which creates dysfunction, that phase is already over. So now it is the revealing process that are happening, and the narcissists are like shaking in his boots. So, and that's why they become like very mean, very spiteful, very a little bit chaotic, and also they will try to tighten the control even more. So that's exactly how the narcissists work. And so they don't learn, they don't adjust to truth or to the healthy flow of life. They will begin to try to control even more. And that's also a sign of that they are losing power. So I will come back with more. I will create this video a little shorter, so it's easier to see and to follow the video. And I hope you like the video, if you enjoy what I do, and also subscribe to the channel. So thank you so much, and until next time.